so that I can actually access it. Let me one sec. Oh, yeah, I think it's done it now. Can you it's gone live now. It's gone live. It's gone live. So you should be able to access, yeah, I can see the 5 people. All right, cheers. All right, bye. Hey, how is everyone doing? Hope all the well. I was having some difficulties getting the live stream started. So I see we've got about 6 people at the moment. If you can hear me clearly, if you could just put a 1 in the chat so that I know that you can hear me and that everything's going okay. Just put a number 1 in the chat. Great. So I know that's 1 person. Excellent. 2. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Excellent. Okay. So starting slightly a bit late, but let's get on with it. Hopefully more people will join as we go along. So today we're going to be looking at the 21 tips to build confidence. And so also just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, please do, because then you'll get an opportunity at the end of the session. Someone will be winning a copy of my values driven toolkit booklet. But like I said, you have to have subscribed to the YouTube channel. So please do. So anyway, let's get started in this. So we're looking at the 21 tips for building confidence. And so when we are thinking about confidence, we have to have a working definition. And so it is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something. So confidence means feeling sure of yourself and your abilities, and not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic and a secure way, that you are confident in what you can do and your ability to perform something. So that's the working definition that we are using today when we're talking about confidence. And so the first tip that I want to give you around building confidence is being your own best cheerleader. So it's really important because no one is with you more than you. No one knows you more than you. And so it's really important that you become your own best cheerleader, the person that encourages you, the person that uplifts you, the person that reminds you of your strengths and your abilities and your skills. So it's really important that you tell yourself, I've got this, I can do this, I am good enough, I am strong enough, I am wise enough. And it's really important that you develop that skill, that art, and that ability to be your own cheerleader. And granted, we all need help and support from people from time to time. But the main person that needs to encourage you is you. As the saying says, as is our confidence, so is our capacity. And the more that you believe in you and are confident in yourself, is the more capacity you have to do, to try, to excel, to exceed, and to grow. Number 2 is planning. We have to be able to plan ahead so that you feel prepared and ready for the task that is at hand. And we all know and have all been in that place where we didn't plan for something. And when we did it, we didn't feel confident. It didn't go well. And it kind of rocked us, kind of affected us, made us be a bit reluctant to try and do that thing again. And I'm sure we've all experienced that time where we did plan ahead, when we were prepared, and it felt so much better. We were more relaxed. We felt confident in the thing that we was going to do because we prepared, we researched, we looked into it. And so it's really important to remember the 5 P's, and it stands for prior preparation prevents poor performance. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. And so it's really important. The more that we prepare for something, is the better we are able to execute. Okay. And when we are um, confident in something because we prepared, it equals commitment. Confidence equals commitment. The things that we are confident in, we are more likely to commit to. And the things that we don't feel confident in, we're more likely to not commit to procrastinate, and to stay in our comfort zone. So always remember the 5 P's. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Number 3, keeping a journal or a victory log of your accomplishments. This is something that is so vitally important, but many people fail to do. Because when you keep a journal or a victory log of your accomplishments, this becomes the live document that is your evidence base that you can draw upon at any time. And in those moments when you're feeling low, or when you're feeling anxious, or when you're not feeling as confident, you can look over the evidence base, the portfolio of the things that you have done and accomplished. And it is a way that you can encourage yourself. It is a way that you can remind yourself of the truth of how good you are, of your potential, and of your successes. And so being able to monitor and acknowledge progress is essential for building confidence. Because as you reflect over things, as you remind yourself of those things that you have actually achieved, it helps you to become confident. It helps you to be able to believe in yourself. Number 4, understanding that failure is the tuition that we pay for future success. I'll say that again because people may have thought you heard me wrong. Understanding that failure is the tuition that we pay for future success. You see, none of us like to fail, but it's important to understand that there is great lessons that we learn from our failures. And that as a result of that, it teaches us, it trains us, it helps us to recognize different pathways that we need to go. It helps us to understand, where we lacked or where we didn't do and the consequences of that. And that actually helps us so that when we do the next thing, that we are able to succeed because we've learned the lesson when we lost the game. And so we need to change the unhealthy relationship that we have with failure, because failure is often the stepping stone to success. And if we think about it practically, throughout all of our lives, we achieve things after we failed. From crawling to walking to talking to eating to reading to riding a bike. Every stage of our lives, we failed our way to success. We failed forwards. And so it's important to understand that when we shy away from change, from doing something different because we're fearing failure, we are not understanding that that is the stepping stone that leads us to success. Nelson Mandela said it best. He said, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by my failures and how I'm able to get back up from them." And so it's really important that we understand that we build confidence through going through things, through experiencing difficulties and struggles and challenges. And John F. Kennedy said it greatly. He said, "Those who dare to fail greatly sorry, he said that those who dare to fail greatly, yeah, can never achieve greatly. And so if you do not dare to try and do new things, you will stay the same. And so it's really important that we are able to push through the struggle, push through the challenge. And in doing so, we get more confident. We build up our self esteem. And so it's important that we understand that failure is the tuition we pay for future success. Number five, practice, practice, practice. One of the most efficient ways of building confidence is by practice. And practice does not make perfect. We'll never be perfect, but practice makes progress. And progress is what builds confidence. When we recognize that we're getting stronger, whether it's you're doing fitness, whether we recognize we're losing weight, whether we recognize that we are learning the processes in a new job and a new role, whether it is you're doing a course and you're starting to understand things more, it's the progress that builds confidence. And so, one of the best ways for you to become confident in whatever area it is that you want to build your confidence in, the more you practice, is the more confidence you will have. It's because you learn more, you understand more, and you're able to transition to be able to be better in doing that thing which you desire to do. Confidence comes from hours, days, weeks, and years of constant work and dedication. Every single one of you are listening to my voice feel confident walking because you've been doing it for so long. And with whatever other area that you want to grow in confidence, the more you practice and that practice becomes progress, is the more confident you will be. And so it's really important that you practice and don't shy away from that thing that you want to achieve. It's actually ludicrous to think that you can become confident in something that you don't actually attend and practice and do. And so it's key that you practice and practice regularly. Number six, focus on what your personal values are. And this is one that I think really um, hinders a lot of people because they're too busy focusing on everyone else and what people may think and how people may feel and how people may judge them, so that they're not actually focusing on their personal values. You see, your personal values are your unique strengths that you draw stability from. And so the more that you are focusing on you, your values, your goals, your morals, your principles, that is how you build confidence because you're doing those things that align with who you are, your core being, your principles, and your values. And so it's really key. The worst thing you can do is do the things that you're doing for everyone else, but at the end of the day, it doesn't align with who you are. That actually strips you of your confidence. But when you are actually doing things because it aligns with your why, your purpose, and your values, that builds confidence because you trust and believe in you. You haven't violated yourself. And that can be very powerful, even when the decision you need to make is a difficult one, but you're doing it you're making the right decisions. And so take a moment to just ask yourself, what is important to you? What drives you? What system do you use to determine what decisions you make? Because these questions help you to be aligned to your personal values. These questions ensure that you were doing things for the right reason and the right purpose. These things ensure that you can go to sleep and have a sweet sleep because you know you've done what's best for you. And so it's really important that you focus on your values when making decisions because that helps you to be confident. And I guarantee you, the majority of the time, you will find that it will work out for you because it's being done on a value based system and process. And that doesn't mean that everyone's going to be happy because everyone has different value systems. But what it does mean is that you can go to sleep knowing that you've done what is aligned to your purpose. Number 7, take small and calculated risks. Take small and calculated risks. One of the problems that people make is they try to do these big changes, these massive changes, and it's too much too soon. And all that does is it crushes your self esteem and your confidence. But when we take small and calculated risks, this helps you to grow in courage and confidence. And as you take those small steps and you're winning and you're winning and you're winning and you build in confidence and you build in courage and you build in self esteem, you can start to make them bigger. But when we're trying to do this big thing too soon, we become paralyzed, we procrastinate, and then ultimately revert back to our comfort zones. And so I encourage you within the next week, find something small to take a calculated risk for. Step out of your comfort zone. Do something different, something that you normally wouldn't do. Just a small goal for yourself and step out of that comfort zone because what you will find is that as you do it, even if you're fearful and anxious as you do it, but as you do it and you realize your potential and you realize that actually this wasn't as hard as I thought, you've just gone up a level in terms of your confidence. Number 8, have a phrase or a mantra that you regularly tell yourself to keep you in the right zone. I cannot stress how important this is. Start your day with intention. Start your day by telling yourself how your day is going to be, what is going to manifest in your life today. Who are you choosing to show up at work today as? This is so important. And so, whether that is today, I welcome peace and peace welcomes me, whether it is the answers always come to me. I am strong enough. Today, I'm going to excel. Whatever that mantra or phrase is that you choose for yourself, but have something because just as you need to eat your breakfast to be filled, you need to fill your mind and your spirit. And the phrase and the mantras that you use is the food, is the spiritual food. It's that nourishment food to give you the psychological strength, the emotional strength, and the spiritual strength to get through that day. And so it's so important to have a mantra and a phrase that you tell yourself that builds you up from within. And so you can have the confidence to address the day. Number 9 is posture. Posture is so important. Having a good posture and holding your head high helps to put you in a better frame of mind. Okay. So you can see I'm sitting up. If I'm slouching like this with my head down, it even changes the energy of how I'm talking. And so it's really important to have a good posture because it actually is scientifically proven that it helps you to feel more confident. Research from Ohio State University suggests that something as simple as sitting up straight can make you feel more confident in what you're doing. So always double check yourself and make sure you are sitting up straight, because this helps to boost your confidence and how you are seen by others. Okay? Really important. Number 10, trust in yourself and your inner guidance. One of the things that we do so much is we doubt ourselves, our opinions, and our gut feelings. So, whether you call it your inner counselor, whether you call it your gut feeling, whatever name you want to use, it's there to help you. And so, it's really important that you trust that, because I'm sure we've all had times when you've had that gut feeling or your inner counselor's been talking to you and you ignored it and you suffered as a result of it. And there's been those times where you've listened to it. And, sometimes it might be, don't go down that road. And it may be the road that you normally go down. And you don't go down that road and you don't know what you saved yourself from as a result of not going down that road. And I tell you why I say that this is so important. Many years back, I remember it was my brother's birthday, and we went to a bowling alley. And after we came out of that, they were going to go to a 24-hour one in Streatham. And something, my gut feeling, inner counselor, whatever you want to say, said to me, go home. And I thought, nah, I can't go home. It's my brother's birthday. Cut a story short, we ended up in a four car pileup. I had whiplash, and both of us, me and my brother, almost died. It was just lucky that we actually survived that car crash. But I had a gut feeling to go home. And ever since that day, I always listen to it. And I encourage you to listen to your inner counselor, that gut feeling. And as you do, you'll become more confident, because you realize this feeling, this sensation that you get is there to guide you. It's there to protect you. And that increases your confidence. There is a quote that says, because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. And because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. And your confidence in yourself makes other people have confidence in you. You see, the world is always looking at us to see how to treat us, and they will follow our example. And when you have confidence in you, people can have confidence in you. And so it's so important. Trust your inner counselor and your gut feeling. It's so important. It's so important. Number 11, playing music to help boost you up mentally. And this is so important and a powerful tool that you can use. There is a thing known as music therapy, and it's where you can actually use music to heal yourself. Music has a fundamental impact on the whole of the brain. And so when you use music to create an environment conductive to the creative process, and when we are creative and successful, this increases self-confidence within ourselves. And so some of you may have been doing this and not even realizing, like if you're cleaning up the house or you're doing something that you find tedious and you put music on, and it gives you the ability to do that thing that you need to do in a much easier state. Well, you can use that, create playlists to deal with or to help you to get through situations and circumstances. Have a playlist for when your anxiety is flared up. Have a playlist for when you're feeling tired and you want to be boosted. And you can use this to help to boost your confidence as the words, the lyrics, the beats, the music, the tones actually empowers you. Number 12 is, and this is a very important one, recognizing that mistakes happen and to learn from them. I'll say it again, recognizing that mistakes happen and to learn from them. It's really important. And so when something happens, when we experience failure or a loss or things don't go according to plan, there are three different ways that we can handle it. You can let it destroy you, you can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. And so it's important to understand we are all going to make mistakes. It's guaranteed because none of us are perfect. But it's how you respond and react to those mistakes that determines everything. Michael Jordan, who's arguably one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived, and because most people don't know his humble beginnings, he was terrible at basketball. He was never picked for a team because he was that bad. But what he did was he said, I'm going to let this refine me. And so he would get on the basketball court before anyone got there, and he would stay there after everyone left. And he practiced and he practiced and he practiced. And that's what formed Michael Jordan, who is the only basketball player to get shoes named after them. And so it's important to understand the mistakes. That's a given. We're all going to experience them. But how are you going to allow that to affect you? And so the more that he practices, the more confident that he became. Another example is Muhammad Ali. Many people don't know that the reason why Muhammad Ali started doing boxing was because he kept on getting bullied. And the last straw was when they took his brand new bike. And so when we saw, Muhammad Ali floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, doing the rope a dope, that came out of being refined. That came out of building himself up because confidence is a muscle. It's a muscle that you develop. And so for anyone that you look up to and value and see as this great role model, just know that they had to build themselves up to get there, just as you need to and I need to. And so always remember that when something goes wrong or when a situation happens, you either win or you learn. That's the mindset you need to have. Don't think of yourself as a failure. You either win or you learn. And with that learning, it's going to lead you to winning. And so never lose hope and understand that the only time you give up is when you stop. When you've given up and you stop trying and you stop pushing forward, or you've allowed it to destroy you or define you, that's the only time you've given up. Number 13, give yourself positive affirmations every day. Very important. Give yourself positive affirmations every single day. And it's very important that you do it before you are going to face a challenging or difficult situation. Whether that is going to the gym, whether that is having a courageous conversation with a colleague, whether that is pitching a new idea, whether that is public speaking, whatever the situation is, it's so important that you give yourself affirmations to lead you into that task you need to do. because where the mind goes, the energy flows. And if you are focusing on what's going to go wrong, what's not going to go according to plan, and you send out those frequencies into the universe, you're going to reap back the whirlwind. And so it's so important to have your mind focused on positive things, on what's going to go right. And always remember, when nothing is sure, anything is possible. See, we look at things when something isn't sure that it's going to go wrong. No, if nothing is sure, it has a possibility of going very well. And so it's always important to give yourself positive affirmations because it strengthens you, it brings clarity, it brings focus, and it makes you go forward with your full ambition, believing that a good thing is going to come out of it. Number 14, very important. Surround yourself with positive people and stay away from toxic people. And so much people fall victim to this. You stay in places that you are not meant to be. You're around people that are only afflicting you. And the question is, why? Why would you do this to yourself? It's so important that the people around you are uplifting you, are aligned with your principles and your values, and they would encourage you in the right way when you want to do something and make changes in your life. Because toxic people are energy drainers. Sometimes you'd be talking to someone and you was fine before you spoke to them. And once you finish that conversation, you don't even know if you want to live anymore. And it's like these people are energy drainers. They are no good for your confidence and self-esteem. You need to stay away from those type of people. You need to separate yourself from those types of people. They are energy vampires and energy leeches. And you all know, you may have one, two, three, four, five, but you all know there's that one person, and when they start, you just, it's really important that you surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you, people that you value their opinion. If you're in a low space, that you can call upon them and know that you will feel uplifted at the end of that conversation. Wisdom teaches us to avoid thoughts, people, and places that weaken us. We have a choice if we're going to listen to wisdom's teaching. Number 15 is to get a hobby, doing something that you are passionate about. This is really important because the more that you do that and you engage in that hobby, it does, there's three stages that happen. First one is that it creates consistency. Because you're doing something that you're passionate about, you will always go forth in doing that thing. And so it's not going to be when any kind of hurdle comes up, you say, oh, because you're passionate about doing it. And that consistency is essential because consistency creates development. When you're consistent in doing something, you're learning, you're growing, you're evolving. And as a result of that development builds confidence. And so because you feel confident in doing this thing, it will actually um, expand onto other areas of your life. And so it's really important. One of the things that people who have no confidence and self-esteem, they will say things like, I'm no good at anything. And so the fact that you are doing something consistently and you're developing and you're developing confidence actually will stop you from actually ever making that statement. And then you can tell yourself, if I could do this and become good at this, what stopped me from becoming good in this area if I apply the same amount of effort and dedication? So get a hobby doing something that you're passionate about. Number 16 is clear your desk. Clear your desk. Your environment directly impacts your self perception. And often, research has shown is that your desk reflects what's going on internally. And so just having a clear desk can actually help in terms of your thinking, your confidence, and your focus. And for anyone who has a really messy desk, when you're trying to find something and you're moving all these papers around, and it's taking you 10 minutes to find something that actually was right there. And if you had a clear desk, you would find. What do you think that's doing in terms of your confidence? When someone comes to your desk or your manager comes and says, "Oh, have you got that document?" You go, "Oh, 1 minute," and you're looking around and you're getting anxious because you're trying to find this thing. It doesn't help your confidence. And so you might think this is such a small thing, but it goes a long way. Clear your desk. And for those of you whose desk is messy, that's your task for Monday. And as you do it and when you finish, you will feel better. Number 17, stop comparing yourself to others. Too many people make this big mistake of comparing themselves to others. And it's ludicrous because no one is the same as you. And you don't even know what's going on internally in them. And so, if you want to learn how to be confident, don't try to validate yourself through comparison. The only person, if you're going to compare yourself to someone, is you. Compare yourself to how you was yesterday, month, week, and year. That's the only person you need to compare yourself to, because that's the only person you're in competition against. And so always remember, when you try to compare yourself to someone else, is that comparison is the thief of all joy. And so what you want to be able to do, like at the end of the year, is to be able to compare yourself from how you was at the beginning of the year. And as you see the growth and the development within yourself, that brings confidence. That shows you the journey that you've gone through. But you are the only person who you should compare yourself to, not anyone else. Number 18, remember what others have highlighted about your positive traits and characteristics. And this is really important because sometimes when we are down in the dumps and we're feeling low about ourselves and, we can't find those affirmations within ourselves. But sometimes the words that other people have said can be that thing that can boost us and bring us back up. Because let's face it, we tend to be our worst critics. We tend to be harder on ourselves than anyone else. And so it's really important to sometimes just take stock and remember, what have other people said? Because often other people can see the positive traits in us that we can't see in ourselves. And so it's really important sometimes to just really reflect, what do other people say about this? If I'm having seven other people say these positive things about me and I'm saying these negative things about me, the numbers don't add up. The data shows that maybe I should be listening to what these other people are saying. And so remember to listen to and reflect on the positive traits that other people have said. Number 19, very important one. It's about your clothes. So wearing clothes that actually make you feel good is really important. And we all know whether it's a suit, a dress, trousers, whatever it may be, when you put on a certain piece of clothing, when you look a certain way and you look in the mirror, it makes you just feel confident, makes you feel like, yeah. And that's really important, the clothes you wear. And you can also have a power color that you identify with, whether it's bold in black, whether it's resilient in red, whether it's organized in orange, whether it's brave in blue, whether it's white and winning, whatever the color is for you, identify something and have that as your costume, your clothing, your armor, that thing that when you wear it, you feel confident. These are all the little kind of tricks and the hacks that you can use to help boost your confidence. Number 20, learn to say no. Learn to say no. How many people go through their life saying yes to things that they don't want to do? And it's so important because life is short. We are a vapor, we're only here for a moment. And for every single thing that you say yes to that you don't want to do, that means you cannot do the things that you actually want to do. And when you learn to say no, this actually helps you to become more confident because you realize and recognize that you don't have to be a victim to everyone else's desires and wants. You do not have to be a slave to what everyone else thinks. And you do not have to be consumed by the fear of not wanting to upset anyone else. But the real question for me is if you were continuously doing things you don't want to do, you are projecting a false perception of who you are. And how can that boost your confidence? And so it's really important that we learn the art because it is an art because not many people can do it of saying no. And so it's something that you need to practice as well, not when the time comes, but even beforehand. Because many people are like, No, I can't do it." It's like, "No, no." And it's about having authority when you're saying that, because people always want to push their own agendas on you. I said, "No, I don't want to go out. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to talk about this." And it's really important that we learn to be confident when we're saying no. Half-hearted no's people don't listen to. And so it's really important to be able to learn to say no, because when something goes against what you want to do or your values or your purpose, no one should ever try to make you do something that you don't want to do. And so I encourage you all, learn to say no and don't be afraid of rocking the boat, because you're rocking the boat of your peace, joy, and happiness when you're doing things that you don't want to do. There's a saying that says, when we have confidence, you can have a lot of fun. And when you have fun, you can do amazing things. And the problem is when we're not saying no, we're not building our confidence and we're not getting to have the fun that you deserve. And so I encourage you, learn to say no. And the final one, point number 21, is to recognize that your best is always good enough. One of the things that happens a lot of the time is if it didn't go perfectly and if it didn't go exactly how we wanted, we're so hard on ourselves. We have the mind trap of all or nothing syndrome. And so always remember your best is always good enough. If you tried something for the first time and you put the work in and you practice and you're learning, it didn't go according to plan, that's fine. It was good enough. If you didn't really commit to it and you didn't put in the work, then you have a good reason to be upset with yourself. But always recognize your best is always good enough. And because you can grow and develop and add to it. And so that's really important. As long as you know you've done your best, you should always be proud of what you've done. And remember, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So never give it. And so these are the 21 tips for building confidence. And I actually, when I was putting this together, I got a lot more than 21. So I'm probably will do at a later date another 21 tips because I've got loads. And it's funny like how our RAS works, which is our rectangle. I forgot how what it stands for, but rectangular activating system, which is basically the system that helps us to be able to recognize things and identify with things. So, like if you buy a new car or you buy a new jumper or something like that, do you notice that once you've bought that and you have it, you notice it everywhere? That's your RAS that does that. And it's also very important for why we should write things down and why we should be focusing on things is because your RAS, once it becomes important to us and our brain recognizes that it's important to us, it will highlight things that will link you to that goal or desire. And so when I started to looking at building confidence, things was coming everywhere to me. I would go on to YouTube, and for some reason, this video would come up around building confidence. And so it's really important to understand about how the RAS helps us to be able to do things and function as human beings. So yeah, so I've got a whole load. So in fact, if you would like me to do another 21 tips, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you would like me to do another 21 tips for building confidence. Let me know. Put a one in the chat if you would like me to do, and not right now, not right now, but if you would like me to do another second part to this, put a one in the chat. I've got two people who said they would. Put a one in the chat. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Excellent. That's good for me. That's five. That's all right. That's enough. That's more than enough for me. So I'll definitely do a second part to this. So there was also a couple of questions that people had put for those who did register for the event. So I will just quickly answer those in the last few minutes that we have. So the first one was someone asked me how to be confident when speaking to others, and especially when English is their second language. So there's four simple things that I would say around this, which is not just for someone if English is your second language, but it also does equate to that. And the first thing is to breathe, okay? Making sure that you have enough oxygen in your blood, which is vital for feeling confident and speaking a language well. Okay, so taking a deep breath before you start to speak is very important. Okay, in terms of how you're feeling within yourself, but it also gives you time to think and help yourself to feel more confident when speaking to others. Number two, I would say, is slow down. Okay, when we're talking fast and we're going on like this, it doesn't make you sound confident and it doesn't make you feel good. Okay, most of the best public speakers speak slowly, and so speaking slower makes you sound more confident and trustworthy, and it will also have an impact on how you feel. The third one is a very simple thing to do: smile. So there's been a number of studies that show smiling has a positive impact on people's mood, making them feel happier and calmer even if there is no other change in their situation. And the final one is to visualize your success. This is a trick that has been used by many top athletes, and there's many studies and evidence to prove that the effectiveness of this. And so before you speak, imagine yourself speaking clearly and fluently. And by visualizing the most positive outcome of the situation, you actually feel more confident in terms of what you're aiming for. But on a biological level, neuroplasticity is taking place. And so you are forming new pathways that are equal to when you're actually doing it. And so that's a very effective way that you can use to build your confidence when speaking to others. The second question was, how can a person maintain confidence? Okay, so I've gone through 21 tips, but I wanted to give a couple of more just to answer this question. So the first one is to take care of yourself. diet, exercise, and sleep. Because in order to maintain your confidence, you need to feel good. And when you're eating healthy and you're eating clean, and you're exercising and your body feels good and you feel good within yourself, and you're getting enough sleep so your body can repair itself and so you can wake up refreshed each day, this will help you to maintain your confidence. We all know when you've had little lack of sleep, or if you haven't been exercises and you feel sluggish, or if you're eating the wrong kind of diet and it's making you feel tired and drained, we don't feel confident in those moments. The second thing I'll say is learn to relax. Okay. If we are constantly feeling stress, this can play off esteem, and it makes you feel negative thoughts more often and it reduces your confidence. And so it's really important to learn to relax, do things that help you to relax, whether it's having a hot bath, whether it's meditation, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's doing a hobby that helps you to relax, whether it's reading, whatever it is that works for you. It's very important, again, that you have supportive company around you. Spend time with people that will support you, encourage you, and build you up. And the final one is, I would say, is accept yourself. Nobody is perfect. We all have issues and we all have flaws. And it's about just loving yourself and taking time to work through them. But at no time should you be hard on yourself because of where you're at. It's a journey that we're on. And always remember that we can change and that the thoughts that we think about ourselves have a big impact on us. And so there's a difference between saying, I made a mistake and I am a failure. So accept yourself and love yourself. Another question was asked was how to master oneself. And I would say there's a few things that we can do to help us on the journey of self mastery. Okay. I actually did a workshop on this recently. I'm going to upload it onto my YouTube channel shortly. So if you are subscribed, you will see when it comes up. But I would say there's a few things that are really important in helping us if we do want to reach a place of self mastery. And the first thing is having good habits. You have to have good habits. Life is built upon habits. And when you have good habits equal success. The second thing is that we have to practice. Practice, 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 practice. Bruce Lee said, I fear a man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times than a man who's practiced 1,000 kicks once. And so the more that you are practice and you are developing and you are growing, it brings forth mastery. Repetition is key. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Michael Jordan said, I've missed 1,000 shots, which is why I'm able to shoot the way that I do. Repetition. Also, it's very important in addressing the gaps and the areas that need improvement. Very often we can be short-sighted or we can ignore the gaps and the problems that are there. In order to reach self-mastery, we have to be willing to step out of our comfort zones, look at ourselves in the mirror, and recognize where things need to change and take action. The next one is discipline. Discipline is vital, is fundamental in order to achieve success and self-mastery. We have to be disciplined. We have to be able to have the ability to do what is right over what is easy. We have to be able to push ourselves out of our comfort zones because our comfort zones keep us bound. It keeps us safe and it keeps us dull. And the final thing I would say is self leadership. Self leadership is so important. How you lead and govern yourself. And this encompasses things like emotional intelligence, your self awareness, your self regulation, your motivation, your empathy, your social interactions, those things that you are doing on a day to day basis, the way that you are addressing things within yourself, dealing with your inner critic, dealing with your thoughts, the rats, the reoccurring afflicting thoughts. All of these things of self leadership give you the ability to do and to lead others. But it starts with you. Charity starts at home. And the final question, which was, how do you have self confidence in new situations or when learning new things? And I think with this, it's important to recognize that failure does not mean final. And when we can hold on to that and understand that we can try, because if I fail, I'm going to fail forwards. I'm going to learn something new. It doesn't mean final. It's not the end of the game. It's also important that you do your prep and your planning in advance. So, especially when doing something new, the more that you practice and you prepare and you plan from it, as I always say to people, failing to plan is planning to fail. And when you have planned and prepared, you can trust the process because you know you're as prepared as you can be. It's about remembering and using the learning from previous successes. And so, this is why it's really important, as I said earlier, to keep a trophy diary, to remember when you faced something else that was difficult and you got through it. To remember what tools did you use to get through the previous situation. And as when you remind yourself on that and you use that, you can apply that learning in this new situation. Also, it's very important to focus on the positive and what could go right rather than the negative and what's going to go wrong. You're trying something new, enjoy it. It's a learning experience. See what you can get from it. And finally, use affirmations to encourage yourself. Use affirmations to help you to get through that situation. Because when you are using certain types of affirmation, you're speaking life into your experience, you're speaking life into yourself, and you're changing your frame of mind and your frame of reference. And when you do that, it gives you the ability to operate in a completely different way. And so it's really important that you give yourself those affirmations. And so that was it for the questions that people would ask. If anyone does have a question that you do want to ask in these last final moments, put it in the chat. Um, but if not, it is time to declare our winner who's going to receive a copy of the Values Driven Toolkit booklet. So, what I thought to do is I'm just going to pick someone randomly to give me a number between 2 and 13. So who am I going to choose? I will choose. Who's the last person commented? Nathan. Put a number in the chat between 2 and 13. Are you still with us, Nathan? If you are, put a number in the chat between 2 or 13. 7. Okay. So number 7 was Jasmine. Jasmine, are you with us? If you're with us, put a yes in the chat, Jasmine. No, Jasmine, give you another 5 seconds to put in the chat if you're with us. Nope, so you snooze, you lose. Nathan, give us another number between 2 and 13. You with us, Nathan? Give us another number 4. Okay, let's see who was number 4. Number 4 was Sandy. Sandy, are you with us? If you are, give us put a yes in the chat. Sandy. Nope. Okay. Nathan, give us another number between 2 and 13. Number between 2 and 13. Yeah, it's like bingo, isn't it? I know. Number between 2 and 13. Okay, 12. Who was number 12? Number 12 was Tanya. Tanya, are you with us? She's here. Okay, okay, cool, excellent. So just make sure that you have registered um on for the YouTube channel. And if you tell me what your name is so that I can check it, and then once that is done, I will email you the a copy of the booklet, Sandy. So cool. Excellent. Okay, cool. Just yeah, tell me if you just what is your name on does it come up? Okay, I can see it there. All right. Excellent. So you'll be getting a copy of your book shortly. So thank you all for your time today. I hope you found it useful. If you found it useful, put a yes in the chat just so that I can know and see that people are and did get something from it. Put a yes in the chat if you found it useful hearing about the 21 tips for building confidence. Put a yes in the chat if you found it useful. Excellent. Good. Got a couple of yeses there. Anyone else? Did you find it useful? Did you find it helpful? Put a yes in the chat. Good. Good. Okay. So thank you all for your time. If there's no more additional questions, for those who paid for the additional VIP after part, I'm going to be going over to Zoom now and I will see you over there. So everyone take care and have a good night.